Alright, this is Estuaries. I'm TJ.
And I'm Golden. Estuary, where in the world? Estuary is a very special place where freshwater and saltwater come together. Estuaries are found on the coast where freshwater like river or bay has access to the ocean. The example is Lake Saltmarsh can be found close to the coast, and another example is when the river feeds directly into the ocean. And the largest estuary in the United States is the Chesapeake Bay Estuary. And next are the biotic factors. There are sunlight, climate, temperature, soil, and salinity and pH. The sunlight, plants use sunlight to convert water and carbon dioxide into carbohydrate and oxygen, which is called photosynthesis. The climate of estuary biome are mostly classified as the local steppe climate. The steppe climate is a climate that often found in the middle of continents or the lee of high mountains. Since estuaries are located oftentimes by tall mountains, trees and bushes don't tend to grow in this biome. However, plants have adapted to the dry climate. Most do this by being small and having a sense root system. And next is the temperature. The estuary biome receives a little precipitation throughout the year. They can receive as little as 50 mm of rain in December and as much as 375 mm in June. The rain season in estuary biome goes from around April to October, where from a little over 100 mm of precipitation to 175 mm of precipitation. The plants and animals that live in the estuary biome are required to adapt to the condition that they live in. The temperature in the habitat goes up when the amount of precipitation goes up. And next is soil. The soil condition in estuary biome are very suitable for plant because the soil it is located where the body of freshwater and saltwater meet. The water is very salty and hard to survive. Next is the salinity. In estuary, the salt content of water fluctuates continuously over the tidal cycle. It decreases drastically in the upper reaches of Estuarine River where tidal influence lessens and varies radically in salt pans. Because of evaporation and precipitation, organisms that spend their entire lives in estuaries need to be capable of responding to large, rapid salinity variations. And next is the pH. When algae naturally begin to increase in estuaries, as they may do when they lengthen and the water temperature rise in spring, pH level tend to rise. Respiration, on the other hand, releases carbon dioxide into the water, thus resulting in a lower pH, so pH level may drop during the summer nights. Next is the food web.
You done?
Yes.
Yes, the large fish basically own the food web, and it basically just rotates throughout starting with the detritus and going throughout the levels of the food web. And then, so the phytoplankton are microscopic plants that produce food through photosynthesis and also absorb nutrients from the water. Larger plants such as mangroves, salt marsh, and seagrass, which also produce food through photosynthesis and absorb nutrients from the water. Zooplankton, microscopic animals that eat phytoplankton. Larger animals such as filter, feeding worms, crabs, snails, shellfish, and fish, which feed on detritus, zooplankton, and larger organisms. Detritus is dead organic matter, which includes dead phytoplankton, zooplankton, and other plants and animals. Many plant and animal species thrive in estuaries that call water provide a safe area for small fish, shellfish, migrating birds, and shore animals. The waters are rich in nutrients such as plankton and bacteria. Decomposing plant matter called detritus provides food of many species, and that's seagrass. Estuarine crocodiles are ideally adapted to the brackish water of river estuaries. They can survive equally well in freshwater and saltwater ecosystems. During the rainy season, estuarine crocodiles live in freshwater rivers and streams. They feed on fish such as barramundi and terrestrial species such as kangaroos and monkeys. During the dry season, estuarine crocodiles swim to river mouths and even out to sea. Fish remain the main component of their diet. Some estuarine crocodiles have also been known to attack and consume sharks. There's 4 different types of estuaries. The coastal plain. The coastal plain estuaries are created when sea levels rise and fill an existing river valley. The Chesapeake Bay is an example of a coastal plain estuary. The tectonic activity is another one. Tectonic activity, the shifting together and rifting apart of the Earth's crust creates tectonic estuaries. San Francisco Bay is an example of a tectonic estuary. Bar-built, when a lagoon or bay is protected from the ocean by a sandbar or barrier island, it is called a bar-built estuary. The Outer Banks are a series of narrow barrier islands in North Carolina and Virginia, creating sandy bar-built estuaries. The fjord estuaries are a type of estuary created by glaciers. They occur when glaciers cut out a steep, deep valley. Glaciers retreat and the ocean rushes in to fill the narrow, deep depression. Puget Sound, an example of a fjord estuary. What to pack. Rain clothes that will allow you to stay dry. Waterproof shoes so you aren't getting your feet wet. Hat and sunglasses in case the sun is shining because you'll be outside. Backpack to keep everything in. And towel in case you decide to go swimming. And what to see. You'll see a unique ecosystem of river and an ocean meeting. River, beaches, oceans, forests. The population of organisms in the estuaries like fish, crabs, and shellfish. And over 100 rare species live in the estuary ecosystem. Then more than 80% of all fish and shellfish species use estuaries as primary habitat or as a spawning or nursing ground. Estuaries are often called the nurses of the sea, and there are 102 estuaries in the United States. And